And, you know, like I say, that call is for people that are moving in the space. It's not a training. I wouldn't say a training call. It's more like a mastermind. But everybody's there is asked to talk about the activity that they're doing. So we welcome you if you're moving in this space and can have that dialogue with us. So again, my name is Sherranda Ivey, and I'm just glad to be a part of this platform. So with that, I'll turn it over to our newest field trainer, Mr. Randy Hooker.
Thank you, Sherranda. It's an honor to be on the call, guys. It's been a lot of hard work for me on this. I've been in LegalShield for about 12 years. I have got a 1,000 app production award, personal production award. I've got the Business Solutions Emerald Elite and have just recently been named a field trainer. I'm out of San Angelo, Texas, which is right in back smack dab in the middle, 200 miles from nowhere. And so we travel quite a little bit. Last year we put nearly 28,000 miles with LegalShield alone, just in the area here around where we drive and stuff. So, but it did net us the last half of the year in 2019, the 50K ring. So we're fortunate enough to be one of the ring earners. And I love the space with CDL. And I was out today, and we'll tell you a little bit about that whenever I talk about my paper. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Lamar Reynolds.
Yes. All right, Randy, congratulations to you. It's great to be on the call here tonight. And yeah, I had done a Zoom call on Sunday for a lady, and I don't know how her name popped up on the Zoom. That's really strange to me, but I got to figure that out. But I'm Lamar Reynolds out of Houston, Texas, and I've been with LegalShield for a little over 14 years. And I've been selling the CDLP membership for about 11. And I've been a trainer for about 10 and a half years now. And by selling the CDLP membership, I've been able to get my 50,000K ring and also the 100,000K ring. And the production award, I got the 5,000 memberships and I guess that might have been in late January. I'm part of the Special Forces and the Solution Emerald Elite. And it's just awesome to be on the call here tonight to share some good nuggets to everybody that's on the Zoom call here today. And I'll turn it back over to Mr. Robert.
All right, fantastic. Thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate you. Do we have any other trainers on the line? Any other CDLP trainers on the line that we may have missed? Going once, going twice. All right, Robert Dunbar. I've been with LegalShield for 11 years, going on 11 years, actually in February. So about 10 and a half years now. And I've trained on the networking side, still actually trained on the network side a little, and on the business solution side as well. I do have a full running business, so I have a team. I'm a 100K ring earner. I've got 250K ring earners on my team. And I also indulge in the B2B business solutions arena of LegalShield because I believe in the residual income and really just being able to sell these plans in bulk. My bills come more than one at a time, so I need to sell more than one membership at a time, if that makes sense. So I really do enjoy that space and being able to have a benefits company and being network marketing all at the same time here in LegalShield. So we come to talk about the CDLP space, which is a different space. It's a different animal when it comes to opening up a group in this arena. And what I love about this space is that it's not as consumed as the regular group space. So when you go out, you won't run into as many people saying that they're doing this as well. And because
We lost you, Dunbar.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't even lose me. I muted myself somehow. Or somebody muted me. Somebody must be telling me to shut up. One of y'all co-hosts. so the CDLP space is good for me because I really like to be able to go out and help these drivers because they get profiled all the time, they get targeted all the time, and it's great to be able to have a product where they can help themselves to an attorney all over the country when things happen that are unjust to them. Because we need them to be safe, especially out here on the streets, driving these big trucks and delivering all the things that we need, as we saw during the COVID pandemic, where they were out on the road, making sure we had what we need. So that's me. That's my introduction. That's why I like this space. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Randy Hooker. He's gonna be going over a document, and he'll be placing that document on Facebook afterwards, so you guys will know. If you have any questions about anything, just place them in the chat. And Sherranda will be looking at the chat. I'll be looking at the chat. Lamar will be looking at the chat. And we'll be taking some questions later on. So put them in the chat. First come, first serve. And we'll answer those questions. We may be able to answer some live questions at the end. But we're going to talk a little bit more about what to do next, because we went over some stuff last week. But there's still some other things that we can still talk a little bit more about what to do next right after being certified, so that you're in the right space. So all of the trainers are going to chime in on that as well. So Mr. Randy Hooker, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okie dokie. I'm going to share my screen here. Guys, this is an article that I just put together. And this is going to be, I'll be using this in my driver's meetings and what have you. Whenever we do a driver orientation meeting, I always go over a tragic accident in there and how we take care of it. And this is a little bit to show you how much an average cost of a truck accident. And it says in here that there's a lot more to than just the physical basic surface costs. It goes deeper in that than just what it costs. And this sort of explains a whole bunch about it here. The biggest thing in a recent article, it stated that the average cost of commercial truck accident with one injury was about $148,000. Now, guys, I don't know about y'all, but most of these truckers don't have that in a savings account to defend themselves from that. And so therefore, whenever you point that out, it sort of lets them know that, wow, they are vulnerable. And then it says the cost can go up roughly to $7 million if it involves a fatality. This piece of paper can be huge with your drivers if you're talking about tragic accident. But here's the thing, it's not only the direct cost that there's cargo damage, vehicle damage, the property damage is one thing, but then you have health costs, and then you have administration costs and business expense. And over here, the indirect costs, the loss of revenue, loss of sales, replacing the trainers and training, hiring and training new workers, if you have to let that one go, and all of the other costs. So it's not just about what your cost is to the driver. It can cost the company quite a bit. So you can use this as working with the companies whenever you're talking to them, also off of your clipboard. And then, of course, it can hurt their reputation. And down here, it can, well, y'all have had two wrecks, y'all have had 6 wrecks or what have you, and it can start, then people don't want to use that company. And so it can hurt their reputation. And along with this, guys, let me go here just a second. It also goes into the lost revenue. And we've created another one here. And this talks about that the lost revenue can be staggering, because it can be as much as 4 to 10 times greater than the visible cost. So therefore, these two papers, guy, I'm going to put in the files section on the Facebook page, and right down here, all you have to do on this is click on it whenever you open them and change this out to y'all's name and email address, phone number, and stuff. I always put these in Word so that they're changeable.
So this last document you put up, that's lost revenue for the company, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Well,
this you can use again with your clipboard and in talking with, basically both of these papers can be used on the clipboard talking with the company.
well, Randy, I think I shared with you, this is Lamar. I had a little small company that had 9 drivers, and last year they had a fatality accident, and he didn't buy my small biz plan, but that one accident goes hand in hand with what Randy is talking about. That one accident put that whole company out of business. So one of my accounts had a fatality accident, and they were being sued for, I think it started off at like $25 million. And then it went down to 7 million. They settled for $7 million. So some of these things can be very expensive. And some of these little small companies, if they end up having a fatality accident, it will wipe them out. So this is where the small business plan comes in. And Randy and I were just talking earlier this afternoon. The company is really promoting small biz and all the premium dollars that they're going to beef up for us by selling that plan. So this is a great opportunity for us to sell the small biz plan for us as an associate, and for the customer, the trucking company, to protect the integrity of that company and keep them going. But this is real world stuff that Randy is talking about.
I also have another article, and I'll let you, I don't have it pulled up, but it was a accident out in the Odessa, Texas area that was on ice, and a lady slid across the median and hit a truck head on. It was her fault, and I have the paperwork on it, and she sued, and they won $90 million from that trucking company.
Yeah. And that was the court in Houston that awarded that. Yes, it was unbelievable. And the driver was on his side of the road going the speed limit. This lady loses control, come through the median and hits the truck. And correct me if I'm wrong, Randy, I think one of her kids passed away in the accident.
One of them was killed. The other one had brain injury, and it incapacitated her, and they won $90 million.
Yeah, $90 million. Yep.
So this is one of the things that whenever you're talking with your driver right here with this 7 million and this 148, you can tell them, look, we'll pay the 100% of the legal fees to represent you in this, win, lose, or draw. I don't know if you have the 150,000 just laying around to defend yourself. This is huge, guys. This is a really good nugget. Whenever I got this, I found this and I got this put together. This to me is a really big nugget for you. So
I'll chime. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Randy, when I'm making my presentation to the drivers about a fatality accident, we have a feature in the CDLP if they're involved in a fatality accident. And I tell the drivers, this one little thing, hopefully it's the number one thing on our brochures. You open it up, it's on the top left. And hopefully you'll never have to use that. But it can save your bank account. It can save your house.
Mm-hmm.
And it could even save your marriage. Is that devastating on drivers? So these fatality accidents can be very devastating, not only to the company, but to that driver. And if a driver happens to be in a fatality accident at that company, guess what they do? They terminate them.
Right.
I was talking to one of my groups, and they had a fatality accident. A guy ran a red light up under his truck, and it killed the person in the car, and the family was suing the company. And I was talking to the company. I said, hey, why don't you give me his name and phone number? I'd like to call him and talk to him and get him in our program. Maybe our attorneys can help him. I said, no, we're going to take good care of him. We'll take care of it. The next week when I went in there, Randy, he was terminated and gone from that company.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and of course,
those company attorneys, and these are big companies, with
Right.
like 100, 300, 500 drivers. The attorneys for that company is for the company, not for the drivers. And so opened my eyes to a lot of things going on in transportation.
Hey, Lamar and Randy, do me a favor. One of you guys, can one of you guys run and pull up where they pull the accidents so that people on the line know how to check that? Where you go on Safer to see how many accidents they had in the last 24 months?
Oh, yeah, hold on now.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't pull up Safer. I'm on my iPad. But I wanted to chime in on that. So on the accident part, when I'm talking to the driver, I talk about, what Lamar just pointed out. But I also let him, like he said, it could be a matter of that driver going to prison, losing their freedom because they don't have the ability to, the funds to defend themselves. But on the small business side, that's why I'm special forces, because on the small business side, we sold so many small business plans last year. And, a lot of people always ask, why do I quote the $89 business plan? Well, you're only saving that driver $50. So if he gets sued, because it's about the driver. We have to stop counting their money. If that driver gets sued in an accident, if that company gets sued in an accident, you save them $50 a month versus them having to pay thousands of dollars to defend themselves, because it's a 25% discount at that $39 business plan. So when we sell the $89 business plan, we're giving that company trial defense.
Right.
And we talk about accidents, but that company could get sued for a lot of different reasons besides an accident. I had a small company, a guy, he got sued because the lady that took care of his taxes, his IFTA taxes, she sued him. And so, so I had to stop talking about being sued about accidents, because it could be from a vendor where the product was damaged when it got to where it was going, and that company can sue, the trucking company for, damaging their product. And also another selling point that we use when selling the small business plan to those smaller companies that have other drivers is every time that driver rolls off in that truck driving up under your authority, if he goes out and have an accident, it's your company that will pay the price for that. And that's something that a company or a business owner does not have. They do not have control over those drivers when they roll off in that truck. So when that driver rolls off in that truck, that company's entire business is in the hands of that driver. And so therefore, our business plans gives that company the ability to protect themselves just in case one of us little four-wheelers jump in front of that truck or that trucker, and he has no control over stopping or, maneuvering because he had an accident. So that's how we sold so many business plans, because at the end of the day, those owners, even though we go in there and talk about the violations, their company is everything to them. And our business plan can protect that. We have other features that will sell that business plan, like, the debt collection, because some of your companies don't have factoring companies. And I think Lamar, me and you talked about factoring companies years ago. I had to ask one of my brokers exactly what factoring was. But factoring companies are the third party billing for those companies that, the factoring company gets paid from the vendor, and the factoring company pays the trucking company. So the trucking company doesn't have to worry about getting paid. So they don't have to deal with debt collection. So those are some of the features on the small business plans, but that's how, I've used it. The selling points I've used to sell and cross sell here with that small business plan.
So
yeah, obviously, Sherranda, this is a good time for you guys to really be taking notes on what Sherranda's talking about, because LegalShield just released a promotion a few days ago on selling small business plans. So I hope you guys are really taking notes on where you can offer that small business plan to truck drivers And if you have any questions about that, put them in the chat. Two, after we finish, ask Sherranda some questions, or any of us that's selling small business plans to truck drivers, because it's a way to take advantage of the promotion that LegalShield is doing and protect the drivers at the same time. So I don't know who was trying to talk, Randy or Lamar, but I'm gonna go ahead and open it up to one of you guys.
I've got this pulled up here on the Cipher report, Robert.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff.
Whenever y'all go into this Cipher report and you put your DOT number in, of course, we always go down and you can find down here a fatality in the last 24 months. But also, if you go up here to the safety management results, and then I pick up the complete report right here. And then down at the bottom of all of this, where we've always talked to you about being able to find out what the company's record were, and then of course in their different out of services. But you can go, it's all the way down here at the bottom, guys. Reviewed not preventable accidents, and then of course fatalities or injuries. Here's one right here, the 11th of September. There was 3 injuries, so you can imagine what kind of this company could
There's
be
some
in.
lawsuits going on there, Mr. Randy.
Mhm. A lot.
Yeah. And then of course, here's some more injuries here. There is a fatality here back in April.
Oh, wow.
And I think there was one more, but this is all the accidents that are down here, and it's right at the bottom. And some of them can tell you if they were non-preventable, but if they weren't, they've got their record down here. And of course, we have our total weight points and of course the severity. The severity multiplies times 3, of course. So, but this is where you can find that, is right at the bottom. And right here, I'll guarantee you in April, they had a lot of lawyers around this trucking company, for sure. For sure.
When somebody asked about, when companies tell you they have liability insurance, that's where you have to posture up and know. That's fine, they have liability insurance, but still they have to have an attorney to defend them.
Well, not only that, but the company is postured up with liability, which is really good, but they ain't gonna take care of the driver.
Right.
And that's where we come in.
But even with the business plan, we ran into that. We ran into that a lot. But when you start to ask questions about what exactly does that liability, what is it going to do for you? That liability insurance, you still got to have an attorney to represent you, to defend you. So, it's great that they got insurance. We all got insurance, right? But at the end of the day, we go get an attorney if we have an accident, right? But we have insurance.
Yeah.
So we have to think logical. I mean, these people are no different than we are. You have to think logical, and a liability, and they, liability insurance is not going to represent them. They still need the representation, and our plan they still need our plan.
Yeah.
Lamar?
This is Mark. I have.
There was a question about, are the preventable accidents removable? And to my knowledge, they're not. All of those accidents stay on the company's record or a driver's record for 5 years, correct?
That's correct. That is correct. So I've got a couple of big companies that are self-insured on the first $1 million. Then after the $1 million, their insurance kicks in. And so what they do, if a driver's involved in an accident, and AJ, you got a big company, so you might want to find out. I could almost tell you the bigger companies are self-insured for amount, and then their insurance kicks in. And so what these people that are looking for accidents out there, and there's a few people that in these small cars, they'll jump in front of a vehicle and hit their brakes, hoping that truck's going to hit them, because they know that company will settle for that it might be a minor accident, but they'll settle real quick to keep that out of court. So I know these companies, I've seen them write checks for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 just to make that accident go away, so it wouldn't go to court. And so these people are looking to be involved in accidents. That they're looking for companies like that. But what the company is doing, they're charging the driver. If they're involved in an accident, it comes out of their settlement check. I believe this one company, it's like $2,000 or $3,000. If they're involved in an accident, the driver has got to pay out that $3,000 comes out of his settlement checks over a period of time. And then the company is accountable for the other $97,000, up to $1 million that they cover themselves, and then the insurance kicks in. So AJ, you might want to check that out. I know you got a big company, and just see if they're self-insured for a certain amount. It's kind of interesting to watch how they work that. Okay.
They are insured over $1 million.
Okay, they are.
But on the driver's side, like you said, they say they're going to take care of them, but the next day they are gone.
They're gone. That is absolutely right. And we're finding a lot of companies right now during this COVID, they're really terminating a lot of drivers out there that are involved in minor accidents. And if they get into an accident, they're just gone. They just terminate them because there's other drivers looking for jobs, and they just terminate that driver. And so that happens a lot. Sure does. That was good, Mr. Randy. Yes, sir.
Yeah, somebody asked if I'd put that one up again a minute, so.
They'll be in the Facebook group as well.
Hey,
Yeah,
Randy.
I'll upload them.
Well, Randy, if you would tell the story behind this.
Oh, this accident?
Yes.
This happened about 5 years ago out from my house. It's about 4.5 miles from my house. It happened on the road just that goes out to my house out of San Angelo. There was two little cars, a car and a pickup that were racing, and they come up beside this truck before he realized where they were. And then that's where the road come together from a passing lane down to 2 lanes. Well, they both had to cut over in front of him, and the pickup clipped the back of the little black car and spun it around out in the pasture. Didn't hurt anybody, but that caused the pickup to turn sideways, and this truck hit that pickup and took it out in the pasture and took the whole front end out from under it. And it killed the 2 people in the pickup. And he was charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter.
Wow. There was a question in the chat that says, if the driver is terminated, does the lawsuit still apply to the company? No, and y'all could chime in, but Mr. Hicks, when a lot of times when the accident happens, the lawsuit heads towards the company. They'll want to sue the company before that driver.
That's right.
And so whether they fire the driver or not, they're suing the company.
And as a general rule, they're going to sue them all. Everybody's going to be named in the lawsuit because they don't know where the money's at. So they're going to name everybody in it that was involved.
But for sure, they're going after, like Sherranda's saying, for sure they're going after that company. They're counting on that company having some deep pockets. That's where they think the money is. And usually, the driver's going to be involved in that. And like Randy is saying, the driver's going to be part of that lawsuit, and he's going to be sued. So these drivers need to be in our program, period.
But that's where our family plan comes in on the civil side.
On the civil side.
On the civil side, because that driver's going to, if he gets sued, it's going to be sued on the civil side. And that's why having our personal plan is important, because it covers them on the civil side.
Driver could be involved in a fatality accident. That's where our CDLP membership comes in. But what Sherranda is saying, if it's just a minor accident, I had a driver that was about 2 months ago, one in December and one in October of last year, that in one of these cases, it was a minor accident. It was a year old. And then he was listed in a civil suit because this person said their neck was hurting and he was being sued. And I had the one in December, I believe, was about 8 months old, and the one in October was about 6 months old. But these little minor accidents, and okay, the insurance is going to pay for that bumper, and people drive off, and you say, well, that's the end of that. Well, it may not be. 6 months later, a civil suit is filed against the driver. And I had a driver call me, man. He said, Mr. Reynolds, what can I do? I said, well, you're being sued. And, maybe we can help you a little bit, but you're being sued because this person is claiming neck injury from that well, she didn't go to the emergency room. The ambulance didn't pick her up. And, and he went through the whole accident with me, but still, you can be sued. Even if you're not at fault, you can be sued. Mm-hmm. Just remember that. Even if it wasn't your fault, you can be sued. That's the reason the court will decide who's at fault. So it's just really important that they enroll in our CDLP membership to protect them on a fatality accident. And it's really important, like Sherranda's talking about, on our legal plan for these little civil suits. And that civil suit is not listing the company, is listing that driver. And, I don't know, Randy, the retainer on that, probably that attorney is probably going to, on a civil suit like that, probably will want $5,000 to just start on a civil suit. And not too many people's got $5,000 in the bank account.
Well, the thing about it, the people that will sue the truck driver, the person that has the neck injury, yep, they'll find one of the attorneys that will do it on a contingency that if we win 4 million, I get $500,000.
Right.
So they won't want anything up front. All they want is them to do everything I tell you to do, and we'll win money.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Somebody asked about, because I talked about the $89 plan. So the $89 small business plan is for, a small business. So like for a trucking company, it might be just for an owner operator. It might just be for an owner operator or a small trucking company. Not, you wouldn't sell the $89 plan to just an individual driver. Small business plan is for an owner operator or a small trucking company. Maybe you got, 1 or 2 drivers or higher. It just anything 99 or less. But it's for a company. $89 small business plan is for the company. Our CDLP plan is for the driver. But if the driver is an owner operator, he can have a $89 plan too because he's a business owner.
Yeah.
AJ, how big is your company?
It's now it's 900 drivers.
Yeah. See, anything over 100 employees, we can't use our small business plans for. So it's for the smaller companies.
Right.
The small business plan, you've got the 149 is for 100 or less, and the 89 is for 50 or less. So they have to go by the employees they have, and that counts the staff too, not just the drivers. So.
Well, we don't want to talk about the number of employees because my owner operators is one of them, and they can get 89. You know what I'm saying?
Have it, but they can't if they've got employees and drivers over 50. They can't have that $89 plan. So
no, yeah.
They had a small business plan, and I said it's not going to work. Somebody had sold them the small business plan.
Wow.
For your
yeah,
company?
they were paying $75. I said, well, yeah, we have LegalShield. I said, you know what? It's not going to cover you guys. You're way too big.
All right.
Are your drivers 1099s?
Employees, they're employees, they're W-2s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
An
they're
owner
W-2s.
operator, no matter if he's 1 or 2 or 6 driver, can have that $89 plan. But if it's a company, they have to go by the employees and drivers together in that company.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I'm just saying it, but I don't, you don't hear me talk a lot about the employees because people get confused about that too sometimes. Yeah, I was just saying.
Well,
And
this little sheet that I'm sure you've seen it, it's hard to see it on the screen there, but it's got all 3 plans on it of the small business plan. The small biz 10, 50, and 100.
Right.
Now, just so everybody knows that's on the call here, the $89 and the $149, which is the small biz 50 and the small biz 100, has trial defense.
Right.
So if you got a little small company with 5 drivers or 9 drivers, and you're trying to help them save money, and you sell them the $39 plan, and they're involved in a fatality accident, they don't have trial defense. And they're going to be very disappointed in you. Yeah, they might pay just a little bit more money. They might pay $89 for that plan, but they get 75 hours of trial defense if something happens. And so it's worth the money. Sherranda?
It's saving them $50. That's all you saving them. You saving them $50 a month for them to pay thousands if they get sued.
That's
so
right.
Yeah, that's what you have to, let's say a consultant, you have to know what you're saving them and how you can help them.
Sherranda, so is it safe to say for everybody on the line listening, is it safe to say, and I've said this in my trainings and things like that, but I just want to kind of say it's a different platform, and there's so many different people who have taken the class since we were doing live classes. Is it safe to say, Sherranda and the other trainers that's on the line, that it's in the best interest of the drivers or the companies or independent drivers, as far as an owner operator, whoever you're talking to that owns the trucking company, to never sell less than the biz 50 on the end of the small business plan? So when you're talking to an owner operator, I would say not to sell them less than the biz 50, because it's not giving them trial defense. And one of the main reasons of selling a small biz plan to an owner operator or a trucking company is for trial defense. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to sell them that plan and only sell them a $39 plan. So I would really take that out of your bag of tricks, so to speak, when you're going to talk to a company. And on Randy's end, what he's saying is if the company is bigger than 50 employees or up to 100 employees, I should say, then you have to sell them at least the $149 plan, at least if they've got between 50 and 100 or whatever that that number is. But I would say even if there's just one guy with one truck and he owns a trucking company, he's an owner operator driving on his own authority, you should still be selling him at least the 89, not the 39, because it's giving them trial defense and they may need that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when I mean, one thing I learned, is that I used to that $39 plan would have been my go-to plan before 2 years ago. If they fell in the employee, if that was an owner operator and he was by himself. But having conversations with these companies, but what I was doing beforehand was counting their money versus helping their need, meeting their need. Because when you ask those questions, that they're worried about being sued. We know that it's a high industry where they can have an accident at any given time. So, and when I'm talking about the benefits, I have people interrupt me and say, well, how much all that costs? Right. And I'm talking to an individual, I'm asking questions about all our plans. Not that he has to buy everything, but I want him to know what we offer. So when I talk about the small business plan, when I'm talking about the small business plan, you're right. I'm talking about the $89 plan because I'm looking to service this person, because saving him $50, and yeah, he gets a $25, a 25% discount with that $39 plan, but he has to put up a high retainer, and then he has to pay the legal fees if he gets sued. 25%, yeah, that's a discount. It's better than something. But when he has that $89 plan and all we did was save him $50 a month, and he he had 75 trial hours of defense, and that may help him not have to come out of pocket with a retainer or the money to represent himself. We've saved him thousands versus trying to save him pennies with that $39 plan. So when I talk to a driver and a company or whatever, they ask about the small business plan, yes, I quote the $89 plan because that's what covers him. Now, I have one plan that's on the book that's $39 from an owner operator. He drives for a company, but he owns his truck. He had never had accidents or anything like that. And I quoted him the $89 plan. He was a referral. And he was like, wow, Miss Ivey, that's a bit much. Can you save me something? And I told him, I save you $50 a month, but if you ever get sued, you're gonna have to put up a retainer and you're gonna have to pay your legal fees. You'll get a discount. And so he took that option. He's the only one I have on the books that has a $39 business plan as an owner operator. Because my deal with these guys is to protect them, not count their money. So that's how I do my business, Dunbar. That's how I'm looking to serve this client. And I tell them, because you get it, what's the low end? The low end is when I'm selling a package is about $130 something. The high end about 180. That's what the small business plan, the CDLP plan, and the family plan, and maybe a home-based business supplement. And they say, what's the difference? $50 is the difference. Do the math any kind of way. $50 is the difference.
Well,
but
and the thing about it, Sherranda, on that $50, if you take $50 a month, that's $600 a year, and that's about 2 hours or an hour and a half of an attorney that would go to a tragic accident type court system for them. So they're not saving very much.
Right, and when I learned that their CDL endorsement is everything. They lose this, they're gonna be sitting on the corner telling stories what they used to do. So, I'm there for the driver. That's just me. So,
Randy, AJ was asking the question about the representation on the CDLP membership and on the family plan. Could you kindly walk that through for everybody, how that works on the CDLP and what coverage we have in that and what coverage we have in the legal plan? Just kind of walk through the selling of those two products, Randy, if you would.
Well, whenever I'm talking to them, I talk to them about the tragic accident in my presentation first, because that's the first in our situation. And I tell them, and what I tell them is, we have this plan and we protect you and your spouse or significant other for 99 cents a day. After I go through the tragic accident, I'll tell them, I say, guys, if I tell you nothing else, the peace of mind for less than $1 a day on a tragic accident is worth our plan. And we're going to do so much more for you. Also, whenever I get through with going over the commercial driver's plan and I start into the life events legal plan, I'll tell them, now, this is where the different stuff, and I'll highlight each one of them as far as civil trial defense. I tell them, we told you that we'd take care of you on the criminal side with the CDL plan on your tragic accident. On our life events plan, we'll take care of your civil side when the family comes at you from the loved one that they lost in the accident. That's where we'll pick that part of it up. And so therefore, that's the reason that 80% of the people I sell have both plans.
Yeah.
It's just because once they understand that if they have them both, they're both tax deductible at the end of the year. And because it covers the civil and criminal with both, and they have the contract and document review and the 24/7 number.
Yeah. So
Tied together.
thank you, Randy, because those are the two coverages, is the fatality part and the CDLP, and the civil part in the legal plan. And so when I go into the legal plan, I will cherry pick, just so everybody knows it's on the phone call. while Randy and all of us trainers, we sell the two memberships, and I've got one over the road company that I'm going to say in that new driver orientation class, I'll probably sell 95% of all of the memberships are double memberships. And so when I go into my little presentation, I finish with the CDLP, like Randy's talking about, and I go over to the legal plan. I tell the drivers, I said, I'm going to cover 3 main nuggets of the legal plan, then I'll go back through the rest of it. And the first one is the civil suit. And they get 60 hours for the first year. And the going rate for these attorneys is anywhere from $250 to $350 an hour. So just say 300 times 60, that's 18 grand parked there for you, your spouse, or your children if they're involved in the civil suit. Okay? And we add 60 hours to that each year up to the 5th year of 300 hours. And then right almost straight across the page on the little fold out brochure is the will. And I'll say, how many of you drivers have a will? Raise your hand. And I'm telling you, drivers are the worst ones to not have wills. You can have a group there of 25 people and one driver may raise his hand. Okay? So I don't ask how many don't. I says, how many do have a will? And then I'll say, how many of you drivers have been talking to your spouse about doing a will? And all the hands go up. In this little program, I'm selling it for $18.95. You can get a free will that's worth, and I tell them $750. Okay, so I go through that. And then if you look at the brochure, it says a living will. That means you can change it each year. Okay, and the medical power of attorney. Why is that important for a commercial driver? A medical power of attorney. And then I remind them of that big accident out in Colorado. And I believe that was what, a year ago, 2 years ago, all the 18-wheelers on the interstate there is burning and cars. I mean, it was just a big mess. There was lawsuits. I mean, there had to be a bunch of lawsuits going on. So, and a lot of those guys ended up in the ER. And if you're in a major accident and you're in the ER, you want to have this medical power of attorney done. And you can have the durable power of attorney. So I'll go through that and then I'll drop down to where it says traffic. And this covers your children that is driving age on moving violations in the personal car. Those are the 3 big nuggets that I lay out when I'm selling the life events plan, the legal plan, to my commercial drivers. And man, when I go through those 3 things, they're ready to sign up. And then I come back and then I'll go through, you can get legal advice, you can get letters and phone calls, review contracts, and I go through the family coverage. And then I'll go through any audits, that you might be going through. You get right at 50 hours of a tax attorney to get you through that audit. And when you lay that out that way, these drivers will buy both plans at a very high rate. And when I go through the accident, the civil suit, I will usually, when I open up that legal events brochure, and the first thing I want to talk to you about is the civil suits. You're coming up to a red light and there's a car that stopped at the red light, and now you're braking and you didn't quite get stopped in time and you hit that car. Matter of fact, it was a minor accident, and your insurance is going to pay for that bumper. Okay. But now it's 6 months later and you're being sued because this person's neck hurts. And let me tell you, that is the big hook for a lot of my commercial drivers, because they're a lot. If you're driving long enough, you're going to be involved in a minor accident. And this day and time, you can be sued in a minor accident. So I just wanted to take time and go through that for everybody, because I think it's really important. And AJ, I think that was a great question to understand. Randy, you want to add in to that?
Hey, Lamar, real quick before Randy, before you go, real quick, or you can touch on this when you're talking, Randy, just so people understand as well, because y'all talking about the double plans, and that's really important. And we still get these questions. Why are y'all selling double plans as opposed to selling the super CDLP? And I have to consistently tell people why we don't sell the super CDLP without seeming like it's offensive to LegalShield.
Yep.
And
Right.
my reasoning is the super CDLP. The family options that are available in that super CDLP are more catered to the old $17 legal plan. It's kind of outdated, and it's not, it doesn't give as much protection. So it goes back to giving them the proper protection, like Sherranda talked about. You don't want to save somebody a couple of dollars and then it hurts them in the back end and they're not getting the right amount of service. The proper thing to sell a driver in this day and time is the family plan. For if it's group space, $18.95. If it's non-group space, $24.95. And then the CDL plan for $32.95, group space $29.95. That is the plan that you should be selling as a double plan. And that interactive flyer is in the back office under resources, under CDLP. It says interactive flyer. That flyer was created by LegalShield for a reason. If they were all, full-fledged, just sell that super, they wouldn't have an interactive flyer showing where you can sell a double plan. And that super CDLP is also not available everywhere. So I would tell you, I would move more in the space of selling the double plan than the super plan. That's my take on it. But the other trainers want to chime in. Great to hear y'all's response on that.
Well, the thing about your super plan is just like Lamar was saying, it covers the member and spouse on the will on our life events legal plan. On the super plan, it's the member, the truck driver gets his free and his wife's is $50. So there is a charge for that second estate planning in that super plan, plus the estate plans. Am I wrong, Lamar? I think the
That's
estate
correct.
plans in the life events plan cover up to $150,000 for the plan, where the super only covers $100,000. So
That's
you're
right.
once again, it's like Sherranda said, you're selling the customer the right thing that he needs for better service with very little difference in money.
And I had a associate ask that today. And what I've looked at it, because like Dunbar said, a lot of associates ask you that about that super. First of all, it's not in every state, because like it's not in Georgia. And second of all, when you look at the benefits, like you just said, Randy, so what I've come to realize that who would be an ideal client for that, and I'm gonna address another question in the chat, would be an individual, a driver that's single. A driver that's single, has no kids, no spouse, and so therefore they don't have to pay the extra for the estate planning. But they also get the tax for the 1099, which is our home-based business supplement. So they get that coverage in that super as well. And so Tyson asks, why do I sell the small biz plan and the HBS? Well, the small biz plans does not have your tax coverage in it. It doesn't cover your Schedule C and your Schedule E. And for those drivers that are 1099s, and a lot of my clients have tax problems. A lot of my trucking clients have tax issues. And so that home-based business supplement covers that because of that Schedule C and Schedule E, because they're 1099s. That small business plan does not have personal tax coverage. You can add some tax questions that comes towards the business, but it does not cover your personal taxes. If you're a 1099, it doesn't cover your personal taxes, period. But with that 1099, that home-based business supplement is what covers that. So that's my answer about the small biz, my take on about the super and about the home-based business supplement. And again, just learning your plans, you have to know your product to service these people as well. So, that's one thing I say, that Melissa teaches, and when Randy and Lamar talk, and Dunbar, everybody, you have to know your plans. And that's something because we are, servicing these people. And yeah, like we sell them the wrong plan and we're sitting there telling them they got this, and then something happens and they don't, then that makes the company looks bad. It goes way beyond us as associates. It's the company's brand. So, Lamar and Randy talks about the products all the time because they know the products. Dunbar talks about the products, all the trainers. And when we work in solutions, you have to know these plans. You have to know what they do. And I know we're here learning, don't get me wrong, but make that a conscious effort if you can. So back up to you, Lamar.
Yeah. So this is a great discussion tonight we ended up talking about products and fatality and civil suits and talking about your product. So it's really important that you understand this. And once you understand it and can present it to your drivers out there the right way. And I know Randy, he sells a lot of double memberships. Sherranda sells a lot of double memberships. And you just got to get that presentation down. And hopefully we gave you some nuggets here tonight. And inside the legal plan, I just encourage you to focus on the civil suit, focus on the will, and focus on the traffic. In other words, when the driver is out, especially on over-the-road drivers is out for a week at a time, and some of their children is getting tickets, they can call into the attorney firm and have those tickets handled. So what I tell the drivers, the legal plan puts a umbrella of protection over their family while they're out on the road. That's what I tell the drivers, and it's very true. So the CDLP program is a ticket program that handles D.O.T. tickets and moving violations. It covers both spouses in the commercial vehicle and the personal vehicle. Okay, so I make sure they understand this is a ticket program. This is a legal program. The life events plan is a legal program to handle legal issues. And when you say that, these drivers, like Sherranda was saying earlier, they have everything from taxes to lawsuits. I mean, there is all kinds of legal issue going on with these commercial drivers. And so you're tapping into a great need there with the life events legal plan for the family. And so we just encourage everybody that's on this call here tonight to really pay attention to what we're saying there about the legal plan and the CDL plan, because these two plans really is a necessity for that commercial driver. Mr. Randy, you got any comments before we turn it back over to Robert?
No, other than I have put the papers in the file section. So both of those that I've talked about tonight, I put in the file section.
Mr. Lamar.
If anybody wants the one on the $90 million suit or anything, y'all get a hold of me and I'll get that to y'all personally.
Mr. Lamar and Mr.
Yes,
Randy. Hey, I have a little nugget that I learned in my presentation.
Please.
And that is, I find out who's the veteran drivers who has been driving for 15 years and up, and how many drivers I have 5 years and under.
Yes.
So I had 5 drivers. Out of that, 3 of them were veteran drivers that were about 12 years. And I had 2 or 3 that were about 2 years, 3 years. And when I did my presentation, the veteran drivers were signing up the paperwork before I ended the presentation.
Yeah.
And the new drivers, they were sitting there. And so one of the veteran drivers looks at the new driver and says, "Hey, how long have you been driving?" 3 years. And he's like, "I'm here, a veteran driver, 20 years on the road. This guy here hasn't even finished his presentation. I'm signing up the paperwork. Boy, you better start signing up that paperwork right now.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Sign up, because you're gonna come across. You're just 3 years. You're a little, you're just new, and he put it as your little pup.
Well,
You need to
AJ,
sign up."
that was perfect. Me and Mr. Randy was talking about this very thing today. And in my presentation last week, when I did the presentation, I asked that very question about how many of your drivers have been with the company more than 10 years. And hands went up. And you know what? Those younger drivers were looking across the aisle over there. And here's this veteran guy. I mean, he makes a statement to me. I'm halfway through my presentation on the CDLP membership. And he says to me, "Mr. Reynolds, sign me up." And he pulls out the application, Randy, and starts filling it out. Well, these young drivers are sitting over here looking at him, you know. And so I ended up, there was 3 drivers in there. It was 2 on one side, and the older driver was sitting over here. And I ended up walking out of there with 6 memberships, ladies and gentlemen. And just what AJ was talking about, identifying who the veteran drivers are in there. And these young drivers are looking at this person.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he was sitting on his hands and not filling out the application, it might be a different story.
Right.
But they were looking to him for direction, and he was signing up. That made a big difference.
And you got to have your safety trainer on your side, because the safety trainer is on my side and he vouches for me all the time. And he says, "Hey, Mr. Joshi here, he's going to be your savior one day. So if you don't sign up, it's up to you. But I would sign up right now."
Yes.
So, put that pen on the paper and sign up. And you know what? He knows that most driver gets bonuses. So that's what I found out. Companies are giving bonuses to sign up drivers, veteran drivers or new drivers, or if they're military. There's a bonus program. And that's a hefty one. They get about $10,000 to get on board with the company, because if they're good drivers, clean records, they're getting bonuses to get in, and different pay scales.
Yes.
So that's what I found out too.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about here tonight is leveraging your opportunity to sell. And what AJ, he's got his first big company, and I'm telling you, he is going to executive director. Did you make it to executive director last month?
I made it to senior director, so I'm hitting the executive this month.
I'm telling you guys, he is going to be executive director very soon, because he opened a big company. But what we're talking about here tonight is leveraging your selling opportunity. And sometimes it's just the little subtle questions you might ask that puts everything in a prime selling opportunity for you. So, that's why you get on this call on Monday night, to learn these little approaches that can be very effective for you in selling. And me and Mr. Randy, we've done presentations and walked out there without selling anything. And then you say, "Why didn't I sell a membership?" And you'll start questioning yourself, and then you'll start, paying attention. Okay, who's the veteran drivers? What questions could I ask? What could I say different to get a better outcome? And so that's what it's all about. I know we're way over, Robert. I'll toss it back to you, but this ended up being a great call.
No, absolutely. Yeah. This is good information. And when it's good information, we just kind of let it run. Of course, guys, this has been recorded. It's on YouTube Live. So by tomorrow, well, you can actually watch it whenever, but it'll be edited by tomorrow, but it'll still be available even before it's edited. So anybody that's listening to this on a recording, on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, if you hit subscribe, it'll let you know when we're dropping new videos. If you hit the notification bell, you'll get an email when the new video drops, whether it be a CDL video, one of the other videos that we place on this channel. So we definitely appreciate you guys for sticking with us, throughout the duration of this Zoom training. And we look forward to you guys on next week. And let us know, like, go in the comment section of these videos and put what you guys want to hear. If you guys want to hear certain topics, put it in there. If you want to hear certain topics, when the email goes out saying what we're going to be talking about, email us back and say, hey, look, can you guys discuss this? That way we're giving you guys the information for what y'all need in the field. So always feel free to shoot a text or an email to one of us as trainers and let us know what you want to hear so we can do topics surrounding those different things. You guys will get the information that you need. So again, thank all the trainers for being on the line. Thank you all for being on the line. And right now, for those looking at the recording, you'll see the last 2 weeks of video showing up right now, where you can click on them and look at what you missed last week and a week before last. So with that being said, you guys have a fantastic evening, and we look forward to meet again next week.
Hey, good stuff.
Thanks.
All right. Good
Good
luck,
stuff, good stuff.
everybody.
Thank you, stuff, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all. All is well.
Thank you,
All
guys.
is